Every morning, you wake carrying the weight of who you once were. Often, without realizing it, you're tethered to habits, fears, and failures that no longer serve you, dragging chains forged in a past that clings to your present. That quiet voice in your head whispering, "This is just how I am." It's not a friend. It's a jailer, a gentle captor dressed in the comfort of familiarity. The Stoics understood this burden. They knew that your past is not your fate, and that real power begins when you no longer take your identity as fixed, but as something you can shape. They believed in the fire of self-renewal, in burning the old map and redrawing it deliberately by your own hand. This isn't about inspiration. It's about liberation. It's about strategy. If you truly want to live freely, you must be willing to let go of the version of yourself that holds you back, the one that clings to destructive habits, indulges in self-pity, hesitates in fear, spirals into overthinking, and resents what it cannot control. This is not just improvement, it is transformation, and the Stoics left us a path. Your former self believes there is always more time, that change can wait, that your potential is something to be postponed. But the Stoics knew better. Life is short. The clock is always ticking. If you don't release the old self today, it may bury the future you tomorrow. Each moment you hesitate, you risk the one thing you cannot recover: time. So today we begin. Together we'll go deep, chapter by chapter, into the philosophical principles and ruthless mindset required to release the version of you that no longer belongs, and step into the one you were meant to become. 1. The art of self-renewal. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. But before you can become who you aim to be, you must be willing to release who you've been." This isn't death. It's a shedding, a molting of what's outdated, reactive, insecure, and small. The Stoics called this voluntary death, not an end, but a rebirth, a courageous act, to abandon the ego and identity you've spent years, maybe decades, constructing and protecting. Most people hold on tightly to their old self, not because it makes them happy, but because it feels safe, predictable, familiar, even when it's quietly destructive. You've lived so long in the story you've told yourself that the idea of rewriting the script can feel like stepping off a ledge with no view of what's below. You may have played the overthinker, the procrastinator, the victim, and in doing so, you've mistaken repetition for truth. But just because a story is well practiced doesn't make it real. The mind craves the familiar, even when the familiar is a cage. But here's what the Stoics knew. Your identity is not stone. It's clay, malleable, shapeable, defined not by your past, but by your actions, habits, and decisions in this very moment. You are not trapped unless you choose to keep holding the chain. When you truly grasp this, something inside you breaks open. The illusion collapses, and in its place, you find possibility. You are not the story you've told yourself. You are the author, and the page before you is blank. Understanding alone is never enough. It's only the spark, the initial light in the dark. The real transformation begins in the fire of action. Knowledge without action becomes deception, a quiet illusion that convinces you progress is being made when in truth you're standing still. To evolve, truly evolve, you must move beyond comprehension. You must enter the arena of deliberate dismantling. This means slowly, methodically, taking apart the false identity you've worn like armor, perhaps for years, maybe even a lifetime. You must stop idolizing the version of yourself you've already outgrown. And each day, as you meet your own reflection, ask yourself with unwavering honesty, who am I choosing to become? Not who others expect, not who your past says you are, but who you consciously, courageously decide to be. And when the old stories return, when the voice of your former self whispers, This is all you'll ever be. You must learn to respond with clarity. You don't speak for me anymore. The past has no authority unless you give it power. Your former self has no command here unless you willingly hand over the reins. True self-renewal begins not when you understand this intellectually, but when you accept it, emotionally, spiritually, completely. The old you is not your identity. It is your origin, the soil, not the shape. It was never meant to define you, only to root you in something you could grow from. You are not bound by who you've been. You are free to become who you are willing to be. Tonight, before sleep, consider this. What is one trait you've been carrying that no longer serves you? Whether it's hesitation, bitterness, or fear, identify it. Then define its opposite. Tomorrow, act as if you are already that new version of yourself. Yes, you will feel resistance, but understand, that discomfort is the sound of your old self beginning to die. The battlefield of inner dialogue. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Your old self doesn't live in your body. It lives in your thoughts. It hides in your inner dialogue, the quiet, persistent story you repeat to yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. That voice may sound familiar, but it is not you. It is a reflection of who you were, not who you are becoming. When you catch yourself saying, "That's just how I am," recognize it for what it is. A script, a well-worn narrative etched into your psyche by years of repetition, fear, and survival. Every time you recite those lines, even in silence, you breathe life back into them. You give weight to chains you claim you wish to break. To change, you must do more than wish. You must wage psychological war. This means rewriting your inner dialogue like a commander rewriting war plans after defeat, with strategy, with precision, with truth. Understand this. Your mind is not neutral, it is terrain. And every unchallenged thought, every unexamined belief becomes a barrier to your growth. You must meet each limiting thought like a soldier meets an enemy. Not with denial, not with empty affirmations, but with clarity. When your mind says, "I can't," ask, "Is that objectively true?" When it says, "I've always been this way," reply, "That was then. Who I become is still unfolding." Reframe, interrupt, reclaim. Because your freedom begins the moment you stop obeying the voice of the version of you that no longer aligns with who you're becoming. Burn the comfort zone. The old self survives because you protect it, not intentionally, but through routine, through comfort, through repetition. You wrap it in the warmth of predictability. You avoid the cold wind of uncertainty. You tell yourself it's safety when really it's stagnation. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That wasn't metaphor. It was a method, a strategy for living. Every challenge you avoid is not neutral. It fortifies the old self. Every difficulty you turn away from strengthens the grip of who you were. Your old identity thrives on comfort. It grows strong on the promise of tomorrow. It lives in delay, in avoidance, in ease. To grow, you must do the uncomfortable. You must stand in the unfamiliar. You must stop sheltering the parts of you that no longer serve your evolution. Because growth does not come wrapped in convenience. It arrives disguised as friction, as failure, as challenge. Burn the comfort zone. Let it be the pyre upon which the old self falls. From its ashes, you begin again, clearer, stronger, freer. The illusion of ease. The path of least resistance is seductive. It offers warmth without growth, rest without restoration. And each time you choose it, each time you linger in that soft space where nothing challenges you, you strengthen the hold of stagnation. The person you are becoming, the version of you that is stronger, wiser, more grounded, is not lounging in comfort, waiting to be discovered. They are forged in discomfort, shaped by effort, built in the fire of deliberate challenge. Every time you choose ease over effort, you don't just pause your progress, you reverse it. You breathe life into the habits you swore you left behind. You resurrect the mindset that kept you small. You tighten the chains that bind your potential. And you add another brick to the walls that contain you. Transformation is not a poetic idea. It is an act of internal rebellion. A confrontation with every instinct that says stay where it's safe. It requires that you set fire to the routines that protect your comfort and start building rituals that sharpen your strength. Because the comfort zone is not a sanctuary, it is a quiet graveyard, a padded cell where dreams are softly smothered and potential is left untouched. You do not transform in safety. You do not evolve in routine. You grow at the edges, in the unfamiliar, in the testing, in the tension. Growth begins the moment you stop seeking what is easy. When you lean into what stretches you. When you welcome discomfort as a teacher rather than resist it like an enemy. That's where your new self is waiting, not hidden behind the curtains of comfort, but in the fire that burns away everything you no longer need. Each morning, do one thing that challenges your comfort. Speak when you'd usually stay silent. Embrace the cold. Face the task you've postponed. You're not just doing hard things. You're chiseling a new identity from the stone of who you used to be. Detach from the echoes of the past. The Stoics understood a simple but profound truth. The past is not real. It is a shadow that lingers only in the mind. A projection without substance, kept alive by repetition. You've failed before. You've made choices you regret. You've stayed too long, said too little, or acted too late. And sometimes, when the mind is quiet, those moments return. But they return as echoes, not as living truths, but as faded reverberations bouncing off the walls of your memory. They only hold power if you choose to keep feeding them. They only define you if you let them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words weren't passive philosophy. They were a direct command to reclaim the throne of your mental space. Yes, the world has shaped you, but only you can choose what continues to live within you. The past cannot imprison you unless you walk back into the cell and close the door yourself. And that version of you you've been trying to outgrow. It is held together by stories you no longer need to tell. If you do not challenge those stories, if you do not confront the assumptions that your past has authored, you will carry them forward as truth, even when they no longer apply. To move forward, you must stop rehearsing the narrative of who you used to be. Stop playing the old reruns of shame, regret, or failure as if they are still current. They are not. Every time you allow those old scripts to loop without resistance, you invite a ghost to sit at your table. A ghost that has nothing new to offer but limitation and weight. You must stop allowing the echoes of who you were to disturb the stillness of who you're becoming. Every rattling chain in your mind is a link you forge by choice, by revisiting pain, by repeating old patterns, by breathing life into stories that should have been buried. Catch them, interrupt them, replace them, because your future cannot rise while you keep inviting your past to hold the pen. Take ruthless responsibility. The old self thrives on blame. It clings to excuses like driftwood in a storm, reaching for anything outside itself to explain why life isn't what it could be. It blames circumstances. It points to the past, to parents, to timing, to betrayal, to luck. It builds a narrative where power always lies elsewhere, as if your progress depends on the winds of fortune. But this narrative is not truth. It is protection, a comfortable lie that spares you from discomfort but robs you of growth. Blame seduces because it feels easier than responsibility. It shields you from the sting of failure, but it also prevents you from owning your strength. Every time you point outward, you give away a piece of your power. You outsource your future to forces beyond your control. And with each deflection, the old self grows stronger, fed by resentment, justified by helplessness. The Stoics saw through this illusion. They understood that real power is internal, that freedom begins when you stop asking the world to change and begin changing yourself. They didn't deny hardship. They faced it with eyes wide open and chose to respond, not react, to build, not blame. Responsibility is not a punishment, it's a path toward resilience, self-respect, and real transformation. Because no one else can live your life. No one else can carry the weight of your decisions. And no one else can create the future you want to experience. Until you own that truth completely, you will stay in cycles, circling the same frustrations, replaying the same narrative, waiting for life to shift when the shift must begin with you. You cannot outgrow the old self while clinging to its habits. And blame is its favorite crutch, fertile ground for victimhood, but barren soil for anything worth building. Greatness cannot grow there. Neither can peace, freedom, or purpose. If you want to become someone new, you must tear out the roots of blame and plant something stronger. Responsibility. Even when it's hard, even when it feels unfair, even when your whole being wants to shout that it wasn't your fault, you take ownership anyway. Not because you are to blame for everything, but because you are the only one who can carry the lesson forward. This is your life, your journey, your consequences, your transformation. And it begins with this. I will no longer outsource my growth. This is mine to carry and mine to change. That's where strength begins, not in comfort, not in fairness, but in the choice to own your future, regardless of the past. Discipline over emotion. The old self is reactive. It follows moods. It waits for motivation. It looks for comfort. It delays action until inspiration arrives, as if discipline is a feeling that must knock before it enters. But discipline is not emotion. It's principle. It's not something you wait for. It's something you live by. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that waiting for ideal conditions is a fool's game. The sea never calms on command. The storm doesn't ask if you're ready. So stop waiting. Stop hoping the wind will change. Start becoming the kind of person who can walk straight into it. You don't silence the old self with words. You silence it by doing the work, especially when you don't feel like it. When you act in alignment with your values, even when you're tired, uninspired, or uncertain, you build a new identity, quietly, steadily, brick by brick. Each moment of consistency over comfort, each time you show up when it would be easier not to, you carve a deeper groove into the foundation of who you're becoming. The old self will try to negotiate. Wait until tomorrow. Rest a little longer. Just one more distraction. But you don't owe that voice anything. Life will not slow down for you. It will not pause to match your mood, and it will never guarantee ideal conditions. So stop looking for ease. Start preparing to carry more, not because it's fair, but because you're capable. Discipline is not forged in inspiration. It's forged in resistance. When your emotions plead for relief, when your body wants to quit, and your mind tries to retreat, that's the moment that counts most. That's when you choose growth over comfort. That's when you push the old self back into the shadows. And that's when you begin to rewrite the story. Not with words, but with action. You stop living passively. You stop waiting for permission. You become deliberate, decisive, directed. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. The new self is not created when everything feels right. The new self is forged when you act despite everything feeling wrong. And that choice, that's what makes you unshakable. Strength through voluntary discomfort. Seneca practiced what he called voluntary hardship, stepping into discomfort even when comfort was available, not because he had to, but because he understood something most forget. Ease can soften the mind, and unchecked comfort can dull the soul. True strength is not revealed when life is gentle, but when it's demanding, not when things are going your way, but when resistance appears and you choose to stand anyway. The old self avoids discomfort. It whispers, "I don't want to," or "I shouldn't have to." It tells you, "This is too hard, I can't." And so it shrinks. It clings to routine. It hides from challenge, not because it's incapable, but because it fears discovering the limits it has placed on itself. Discomfort threatens the illusion of fragility, but it also offers proof that your limits were never real, just boundaries drawn in the sand by an old identity afraid of being tested. When you choose discomfort intentionally, you begin to redraw those boundaries. You step into the unknown and realize you can endure more than you imagined. You can do hard things, not when forced, but by choice. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's about reclaiming your edge. It's about choosing challenge now, so that when life throws it at you, you're already prepared. Every voluntary hardship becomes a quiet declaration. I will not be ruled by comfort. It becomes training, sharpening, strengthening. Each act of chosen difficulty chips away at the old self, the one that depended on ease, on luxury, on avoidance. And what's revealed beneath is a self forged in discipline, resilient, grounded, and ready, not as punishment, but as preparation, as a statement that you are not a servant to your cravings, but their master. You are not soft by default, you are strong by design, and discomfort is how you remember. The sacred urgency of now every effort, every breath. It matters because it is finite, and because of that, it is sacred. There are no rehearsals in this life, no reruns, no second takes, just this one chance to live fully, honestly, and awake. To remember this is to stop chasing comfort for comfort's sake. It's to stop hiding behind distractions and instead face what truly matters with clarity and intention. It's learning to let the trivial fall away, to stop letting moments slip by unnoticed, to live with an energy that honors the truth. Time is short. That is the urgency that liberates you. Not a frantic rush, but a steady awareness. The quiet realization that every passing moment is one you don't get back. Not something to fear, but something to hold close. Time is not something we can save or stretch. It is a gift we are constantly spending, whether we're conscious of it or not. Every second wasted in avoidance or indifference is a second gone. And once it's gone, it does not return. But this truth isn't meant to make you panic. It's meant to wake you up, to make you pay attention, to push you toward presence, not pressure. It invites you to draw meaning from the small things. The conversation you almost didn't have. The ordinary sunrise you almost didn't look at. The quiet moment you almost scrolled past. It reminds you to treat these moments as the treasures they are, because they're not guaranteed. And because of that, they're extraordinary. This awareness becomes your fuel, to speak the words you've kept inside, to take the leap you've delayed, to stop tolerating the things that quietly drain your spirit, to stop postponing the life you were meant to live. There will never be a perfect moment. There is only now, and now is enough if you choose to act. When you understand how little time you truly have, something shifts. You stop waiting. You start living, not frantically, but deliberately, not recklessly, but with deep care and presence. You begin to see the sacred in the mundane. You love more intentionally. You express more openly. You move with a quiet urgency that reflects respect for the life you've been given. You no longer squander your breath on empty promises to yourself. You take action, not someday, but today, because the clock will not wait for you. And life is not happening later. It's happening now, in this hour, in this moment, in this breath. So each morning, remind yourself, if today were my last, how would I choose to live it? Write it down. Then live that answer without delay, without excuse. Because nothing is more sacred than the time you still have. And nothing is more powerful than the decision to use it well.